The Science of Sustainable Change, Mastering Habit Formation through the Principles of James Clear. Introduction. The Atomic Power of Tiny Changes. We are, in essence, the sum of our habits. What we repeatedly do, the small choices we make each day, the automatic behaviors we perform without conscious thought, ultimately forges our health, productivity, financial stability, and overall happiness. Yet the landscape of self-improvement is littered with abandoned gym memberships, unopened language learning apps, and diets that lasted mere days. We recognize the habits we wish to cultivate and those we need to break. But the chasm between intention and consistent action seems impossibly wide. Enter James Clear, whose groundbreaking work, Atomic Habits, has shifted the paradigm of personal change. Drawing from neuroscience, psychology, and biology, Clear presents a framework that rejects the myth of monumental, overnight transformation in favor of the compounding power of small, incremental improvements. The central thesis is both simple and profound. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. It is not the loftiness of our ambitions, but the quality of our daily processes that determines our trajectory. This comprehensive exploration delves deep into Clear's philosophy, unpacking the 4 laws of behavior change, the science that underpins them, and the practical strategies for implementing them. We will examine how to engineer an environment for success, align habits with identity, navigate plateaus, and build a lifestyle where positive habits are not a struggle, but an inevitable outcome of a well-designed system. This is not merely a summary, but a masterclass in the architecture of a better self, spanning over 11,000 words of actionable insight. Part 1. The Foundation, Understanding the Habit Loop and the Power of 1%. Chapter 1. The Myth of Transformation and the Reality of Compounding. Our culture is obsessed with transformational stories. The dramatic weight loss, the overnight success, the radical reinvention. These narratives, while inspiring, are misleading. They focus on the outcome, the pinnacle moment, and obscure the long, unglamorous process that made it possible. This focus sets us up for failure, because it makes the journey seem like a single, Herculean leap rather than a series of manageable steps. Clear introduces a more powerful metaphor, compounding. Much like money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. A 1% improvement daily seems negligible. It is invisible today, unnoticeable tomorrow, but compounded over a year, that tiny daily gain amounts to being nearly 37 times better. 1 to 1.01, 365, 37.78. Conversely, a 1% daily decline leads you to near zero. 0.955, This aggregation of marginal gains philosophy, famously employed by the British cycling team, demonstrates that massive success doesn't require massive action. It requires consistent small action. The key is not to worry about the spectacular result today, but to trust the process. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The habit of lacing up your shoes, even for 5 minutes, is what creates the identity from which the marathon becomes possible, the plateau of latent potential. Clear uses a powerful visual, an ice cube. Imagine a room at 25 degrees Fahrenheit. You begin heating it degree by degree. 26, 27, 28. The ice cube remains solid. 29, 30, 31. Still frozen. At 32 degrees, it begins to melt. A 1 degree shift from 31 to 32 triggers a phase change. But that shift was not more important than the preceding increases. It was the accumulation of all the energy added before. We experience this in our own lives. We work hard, implementing new habits, and see no visible results. We are on the plateau of latent potential. Frustrated, we abandon the effort just before our habits are about to deliver a breakthrough. Understanding that breakthroughs are always preceded by a long period of silent, unseen accumulation is critical for perseverance. The system, the process of showing up daily, is what carries you across that plateau. Chapter 2. Deconstructing the Habit Loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. To build better habits, we must first understand their architecture. Clear builds upon the neurological habit loop, popularized by Charles Duhigg. Cue, routine, reward, and refines it into a 4-step pattern central to all human behavior. 1. Cue, the trigger that initiates the behavior. It is a bit of information that predicts a reward. Cues are noticed by the brain because they have been associated, through repetition, with a pleasurable or necessary outcome. They can be a time of day, a location, an emotional state, the presence of certain people, or an immediately preceding action. 2. Craving, the motivational force behind every habit. We do not crave the behavior itself, but the change in state it delivers. We don't crave brushing our teeth. We crave the feeling of a clean mouth. We don't crave scrolling social media. We crave the distraction or social connection it promises. The craving is the sense of desire that makes the cue meaningful. 3. Response, the actual habit you perform, which can be a thought or an action. Whether a response occurs depends on your motivation and the friction or lack thereof associated with the behavior. 4. Reward, the end goal of every habit. Rewards satisfy the craving and, crucially, teach the brain which actions are worth remembering for the future. They close the feedback loop. This loop, cue, craving, response, reward, is an endless cycle running in the background of our lives. The brain is constantly scanning the environment, assessing cues, and executing learned behaviors to obtain rewards. The process becomes more automatic with each successful completion, as the neural pathways associated with the loop are strengthened. A phenomenon known as Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. The genius of Clear's 4 laws of behavior change is that they provide a simple, symmetrical framework for creating good habits and breaking bad ones by targeting each step in this loop. For building good habits, 1. Make it obvious, cue. 2. Make it attractive, craving. 3. Make it easy, response. 4. Make it satisfying, reward. For breaking bad habits, 1. Make it invisible, cue. 2. Make it unattractive, craving. 3. Make it difficult, response. 4. Make it unsatisfying, reward. The remainder of this text will be a deep dive into each of these laws, providing not just the theory, but a comprehensive toolkit for implementation. Part 2. The first law, make it obvious, Pugh's cue. You cannot change a habit you are unaware of. The first step in mastering your habits is to simply notice them. Chapter 3. The Habit Scorecard and the Pointing and Calling Method. Most of our habits are unconscious. We navigate our mornings, commutes, and evenings on autopilot. To change this, we must bring our automatic behaviors into the realm of conscious observation. Clear suggests a simple but powerful exercise. Create a habit scorecard. 1. List your daily habits. Write down everything you do in a typical day, from waking up to going to bed. Be granular. Wake up, hit snooze, check phone, get out of bed, use the bathroom, weigh myself, shower, brush teeth, get dressed, make coffee. 2. Score. Each habit next to each behavior. Mark it with a plus for a positive habit, A for a negative habit, or an for a neutral habit. The goal is not to judge yourself, but to cultivate awareness. Is scrolling through news headlines while drinking coffee positive, negative, or neutral? You decide based on your values and goals. This practice of habits awareness is formalized in the Japanese railway system through a safety protocol called pointing and calling. Conductors physically point at critical indicators and call out their status. Signal is green. This transforms an automatic observation into a conscious, deliberate action, reducing errors by up to 85%. You can adopt a lightweight version of this. When you notice a habitual cue, reaching for your phone when you feel a moment of boredom, opening the fridge when you're not hungry, simply say out loud or in your mind, I am about to habit, because I am feeling cue emotion. This tiny moment of awareness inserts a sliver of space between the cue and the response, a space where choice resides. Chapter 4. Implementation Intentions and Habit Stacking. Awareness is passive. To build new habits, we need proactive strategies. Two of the most effective are implementation intentions and habit stacking. Implementation intentions are a psychology-backed method that moves you from a vague goal, I should meditate more, to a concrete plan. The formula is L will behavior at time and location. Vague, I'll exercise more. Clear, I will go for a 20-minute run at 7:30 a.m. in my neighborhood park. Research by Peter Goldilocks shows that this simple act of specifying the when and where dramatically increases the odds of follow-through. It gives your brain a clear time and space-bound trigger. Habit stacking is Clear's brilliant method for piggybacking new habits onto existing ones. The existing habit acts as a reliable, obvious cue. The formula is, after current habit, I will new habit. After I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. After I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes. After I sit down for dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for. The key is to identify rock-solid habits in your current routine. Brushing teeth, getting in the car, closing your laptop, and use them as anchors. This leverages the existing neural pathway of the first habit to create a new one, making the cue for your new habit incredibly obvious. Chapter 5. Designing your environment for obvious cues. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. You are not a passive player in your space. You are its architect. To make good habits obvious, you must design an environment where the cues for those habits are prominent and inescapable. The principle of visual cues. Humans are visual creatures. What is out of sight is truly out of mind. Want to practice guitar more? Place the guitar stand in the middle of your living room. Want to eat more fruit? Wash a bowl of apples and place it on the kitchen counter. Want to take your medications? Put the pill bottle next to your toothbrush. Want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow in the morning. Conversely, to break a bad habit, you make its cues invisible. Want to snack less? Put unhealthy snacks in the back of the highest cupboard in opaque containers. Want to reduce phone use? Charge your phone in another room at night and turn off non-essential notifications. Want to stop watching so much TV? Unplug it after use and put the remote in a drawer. Context is cue. Each location or context develops associations in our minds. Your brain links your couch with relaxation and Netflix, your desk with focused work, your bed with sleep. You can leverage this by dedicating specific spaces for specific activities. Use a specific chair for reading only, not for scrolling. Use a specific table for creative work only. If possible, avoid working in bed or on the couch to preserve those spaces for rest. By consciously engineering your surroundings, you don't need to rely on willpower or memory. The environment itself becomes your cue, nudging you toward better behaviors automatically. Part 3. The second law. Make it attractive. Craving. The more attractive an opportunity, the more likely it is to become habit-forming. This law targets the craving stage of the habit loop. We are driven by the anticipation of reward, a feeling orchestrated by the brain's dopamine system. Chapter 6. The dopamine-driven feedback loop. Contrary to popular belief, dopamine is not just about pleasure. It's about anticipation. It is released not when you experience the reward, but when you anticipate it. This is why the craving, the longing for the change in state, is so powerful. Every time you get a notification, cue, and anticipate a social reward, craving, you get a hit of dopamine. This dopamine spike motivates the response, checking the phone. We can harness this mechanism for good habits by supercharging the anticipation. Make the habit itself or the moment before it attractive. Temptation bundling. This is one of Clear's most innovative strategies. It links an action you want to do with an action you need to do, making the necessary habit more attractive. The formula. After I habit I need, I will habit I want. After I write 500 words for my report, I will check my favorite website. After I complete my 30-minute workout, I will watch my favorite podcast. You can also bundle them simultaneously. Only listen to your favorite audiobook or podcast while at the gym or commuting. This strategy works because it leverages a behavior you already crave to pull along a new behavior you're trying to cultivate. Chapter 7. The Role of Culture and Belonging. Human beings have a deep-seated need to belong. We are profoundly influenced by the habits of 3 social groups. 1. The close family and friends. 2. The many, the tribe or community. 3. The powerful, those with status and prestige. We imitate the habits of these groups to fit in, earn respect, and connect. Therefore, one of the most effective ways to make a habit attractive is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Want to get fit? Join a running club or a CrossFit box where showing up and pushing yourself is the norm. Want to improve your craft? Join a mastermind group or a writing circle. Want to read more? Join a book club. Surrounding yourself with people who embody the habits you want to adopt does 2 things. 1. It makes the habit seem normal and achievable. And 2. It provides a powerful form of social reinforcement. The craving for belonging merges with the craving for the habit itself. Furthermore, friendship and mentorship are accelerants. Having an accountability partner or a mentor makes the journey more attractive because it adds a layer of social connection and support. You're not just running. You're running with a friend. You're not just learning. You're learning from someone you admire. Chapter 8. Reframing your mindset. Ultimately, the attractiveness of a habit is determined by your mindset. You can learn to associate hard habits with positive feelings by reframing your internal narrative. Instead of saying, I have to go to the gym, say, I get to go to the gym. I get to strengthen my body and clear my mind. Instead of, I have to do this sales call, say, this is an opportunity to practice my communication skills and help a potential client. Instead of, I can't eat junk food, say, I don't eat junk food. I'm someone who fuels my body with healthy food. This is more than positive thinking. It's identity-based language, which we will explore later. For the second law, the key is to highlight the benefits of your new habit and downplay the drawbacks of your old ones. Bad habits often serve a purpose: stress relief, distraction, comfort. To make them unattractive, you must actively highlight their true costs. Write down the negative consequences of your bad habit in vivid detail. Connect the immediate action, smoking, with the long-term, undesirable outcome, poor health, loss of vitality, in your mind. Reframe the craving. I am not giving up smoking. I am gaining health, energy, and freedom. Part 4. The third law. Make it easy. Response. Human behavior follows the law of least effort. When faced with two similar options, we will naturally gravitate toward the one that requires the least amount of work. Therefore, the most effective habit formation strategy is to reduce the friction associated with good behaviors. Convenience is king. Chapter 9. Reducing friction and the 2-minute rule. The energy required to start a task is often the biggest hurdle. The key is to make the start of your desired habit as effortless as possible. Prime your environment. This is the action-oriented counterpart to making cues obvious. It's about preparing your environment to reduce the number of steps needed to perform a good habit. Want to cook healthy meals? On Sundays, chop all your vegetables and store them in clear containers. Want to run in the morning? Lay out your running clothes, shoes, and headphones the night before. Want to play music? Keep your instrument on a stand, not in its case under the bed. Each small act of preparation removes a point of friction, making the right action the path of least resistance. The 2-minute rule. This is perhaps the most important tactic for overcoming procrastination and building consistency. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Read before bed becomes read 1 page. Do yoga becomes take out my yoga mat. Run 3 miles becomes tie my running shoes. Clean the house becomes clean 1 dish. The idea is to make your habit so easy that you can't say no. You're not trying to achieve the ultimate outcome at this stage. You're mastering the art of showing up. The ritual of starting is more important than the success of the activity in the beginning. A new habit must be established before it can be optimized. Once you've consistently shown up for 2 minutes, you can gradually expand. Oh, I'm already here. I might as well read a chapter and go for the full run. The rule works because it honors the fact that motion is not action. Browsing fitness websites is motion. Putting on your workout shoes is action. The 2-minute rule gets you from motion to action. Chapter 11. The critical role of repetition, not perfection. Forget about goal setting for a moment. Focus on practice. In the early stages of habit formation, quantity trumps quality. You are not trying to write a masterpiece. You are trying to become a writer, which means establishing the habit of writing regularly. You are not trying to have the perfect workout. You are trying to become someone who exercises, which means establishing the habit of going to the gym. The goal is not to perform the habit perfectly every time. The goal is to repeat it. Each repetition is a vote for your new identity and strengthens the neural pathway for that behavior. Consistency is the compound interest of self-improvement. Clear introduces the concept of missing twice. When you break a streak, don't let it become the start of a new pattern. Never miss twice. The first mistake is an accident. The second is the start of a new bad habit. Getting back on track immediately is how you maintain the integrity of your system. This focus on repetition over perfection also combats all-or-nothing thinking. Doing 10 push-ups is not failing. Compared to a goal of 50, it is a 10 push-up victory. It is a successful repetition of the habit. This mindset keeps you in the game, building momentum through frequency, not intensity. Part 5. The 4th law, make it satisfying reward. We are more likely to repeat a behavior when the experience is satisfying. The problem with many good habits is that their rewards are delayed. The reward of exercise, better health, physique, is weeks or months away. The reward of saving money, financial freedom, is years away. The costs, however, are immediate. Soreness, craving, deprivation. Conversely, the rewards of bad habits are immediate. The sugar rush, the distraction, the relaxation. The costs are delayed. To get a habit to stick, you need to shift the reward to the immediate. Chapter 12. Immediate reinforcement and habit trackers. The cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. To make good habits satisfying, you must attach an immediate, pleasurable sensation to them. Tangible rewards. After a week of sticking to your workout habit, treat yourself to a massage or a new piece of workout gear. Be careful not to reward yourself with something that contradicts the habit, like a junk food binge. Nice job. Rewards. Simply acknowledging your success can be enough. Give yourself a mental pat on the back. I did it. I showed up. The gold star method. Use a habit tracker. This is one of Clear's most recommended tools. Mark an X on a calendar for each day you complete your habit. The satisfaction comes from seeing the chain grow and not wanting to. Break the chain. This visual proof of progress is an immediate, satisfying reward in itself. Habit tracking is powerful because it 1. Creates a visual cue, obvious. 2. Is inherently motivating as you see progress. Attractive. 3. Feels satisfying to record. Satisfying. 4. Provides a record of your commitment, reinforcing your identity. Chapter 13. The role of accountability partners and habit contracts. Immediate satisfaction can also come in the form of avoiding an immediate pain. This is where accountability comes in. An accountability partner creates an immediate social cost to breaking your habit. Knowing you have to text your friend that you skipped the gym, or, worse, that you owe them money if you do, makes the act of skipping immediately unsatisfying. Clear takes this further with the concept of a habit contract. This is a verbal or written contract in which you state your commitment to a habit and the punishment, ideally automatic and unpleasant, you will incur if you don't follow through. You share this contract with one or more people who will act as your accountability partners. For example, I, your name, commit to writing 500 words every weekday for the next month. If I miss a day, I will immediately pay $50 to a political campaign I despise, and my accountability partner will post a humiliating childhood photo of me on social media. The more specific, automatic, and painful the consequence, the more effective the contract. It raises the immediate cost of not doing the habit, making the act of following through more satisfying by comparison. Part 6. The advanced layer. From outcomes to identity. The 4 laws provide a magnificent system for behavior change. However, the most profound level of change, according to Clear, is not at the level of outcomes or processes, but at the level of identity. Chapter 14. The 3 layers of behavior change. Clear outlines a hierarchy of change. 1. Outcomes, changing your results. Lose 20 pounds, publish a book, win a championship. This is what most goal setting focuses on. 2. Processes, changing your habits and systems. Implementing a workout routine, a writing schedule, a new practice regimen. This is the focus of the 4 laws. 3. Identity, changing your beliefs, your worldview, your self-image, your judgments about yourself and others. The most effective way to change your habits is to focus on who you wish to become. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. The goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The goal is not to learn an instrument. The goal is to become a musician. Chapter 15. Identity-based habits in practice. How do you build identity-based habits? Step 1. Decide the type of person you want to be. Ask, who is the type of person that could get the outcome I want? Not I want to lose weight, but I want to be a healthy, fit person. Not I want to write a book, but I want to be a prolific writer. Not I want to be a good leader, but I am a conscientious and empowering leader. Step 2. Prove it to yourself with small wins. Your identity emerges from your habits. Each time you write a page, you are a writer. Each time you practice your instrument, you are a musician. Each time you choose a healthy meal, you are a healthy person. You do not need the whole book, the concert, or the perfect body to claim the identity. You claim it through your repeated actions. Step 3. Use identity-based language. Stop saying I can't or I have to. Start saying I don't or I am. I don't miss workouts. Identity, a disciplined person. I'm not a smoker. Identity, a non-smoker. We are the kind of family that eats together. Identity, a connected family. This reframing makes the habit a matter of personal integrity, not just a task to be completed. The beauty of this approach is that when your habits are aligned with your desired identity, they become self-reinforcing. You don't avoid junk food because of a diet rule. You avoid it because that's not what healthy people like me eat. The habit is no longer a burden. It is an expression of who you are. Part 7. The Downward Spiral. Inverting the laws to break bad habits. The symmetrical beauty of the 4 laws is that they provide a clear roadmap for dismantling bad habits. Every strategy for building a good habit has a corollary for breaking a bad one. Chapter 16. Make it invisible. Reduce exposure. The most practical way to break a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cue that triggers it. Unattractive cues. Use the environmental design principles in reverse. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Unfollow accounts that trigger comparison or shopping urges. Delete social media apps from your phone. Increase friction. Make the cues for bad habits harder to notice. Put your video game console in a closet. Use website blockers during work hours. Keep your credit card in a locked drawer. Self-control is a short-term strategy. A better strategy is to not need self-control by designing a cue-free environment. Chapter 17. Make it unattractive. Reframe the craving. Highlight the benefits of avoiding the bad habit. Use a costs and benefits list. Write down the immediate pleasures of the bad habit in one column. In the other, write down the long-term costs. Then write down the immediate discomforts of the good habit, and next to them, the long-term benefits. This exercise makes the true costs and benefits more obvious and helps you reframe your mindset. Ask yourself, how does this habit serve me? What need is it fulfilling? Then find a better habit that fulfills the same need. Replace scrolling social media. Need connection, distraction with calling a friend or reading an interesting book. Chapter 18. Make it difficult. Increase friction. Increase the number of steps between you and the bad habit. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that controls your actions. In the future, locking you into a better path. Technology. Use apps that block distracting websites after a set amount of time. Finance. Automate savings into an account that is difficult to access. Social. Publicly announce you are quitting something, creating social pressure. Physical. Buy groceries online to avoid in-store temptations. Use a smaller plate to eat less. The goal is to add enough friction to make the bad habit impractical in the moment of temptation. Chapter 19. Make it unsatisfying. Add an immediate cost. We saw how immediate rewards solidify habits. To break a habit, we need immediate consequences. Accountability partner. Have someone check in on you. The immediate social embarrassment of admitting failure is a powerful cost. Habit contract. Formalize the accountability with a written contract and a stiff penalty. As described earlier, public stakes. Announce your goal on social media and commit to donating to a cause you dislike if you fail. The pain of the immediate consequence must outweigh the immediate pleasure of the bad habit for the strategy to work. Part 8. The long game. Staying on track. When life happens, even with the best systems, you will face boredom, plateaus, and setbacks. Advanced Mastery is about navigating these challenges. Chapter 20. The Goldilocks Rule and Embracing Boredom. The Goldilocks Rule? Humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, causing anxiety. Not too easy, causing boredom. But just right. To maintain motivation in the long term, you must continually face manageable challenges. For a runner, that might mean slowly increasing distance or aiming for a faster pace. For a writer, it might mean increasing the daily word count or tackling a more complex topic. However, even with perfect challenges, you will get bored. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. We get tired of our good habits because they stop delivering novelty. The key is to stick with a habit even when, especially when, it's not exciting. Professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. You have to fall in love with the boredom, with the practice itself. The ability to do the work when it's no longer fun is what separates the professional from the amateur. Chapter 21. The Role of Reflection and Review. A system must be periodically reviewed and adjusted. Clear suggests a two-tier review system. 1. Daily reflection. A brief moment, perhaps in a journal, to note what went well and what could be improved. It keeps you conscious of your systems. 2. Annual or quarterly review. A more in-depth audit. Ask, what are my core values? What is working? What is not? Are my daily habits aligning me with my desired identity? Am I facing appropriate challenges? Goldilocks Rule. This is the time to tweak your systems, drop habits that no longer serve you, and recommit to your identity. This process prevents you from blindly following a system that has become obsolete. It ensures your habits continue to serve the person you are becoming. Chapter 22. The Importance of Genes and Personality. Not all habits are for all people. Your genes predispose you to certain aptitudes and interests. Clear advises exploiting first. Explore widely to find the areas where your skills and interests intersect with market demand, where you can be really good. Then, exploit that niche by drilling down and building world-class habits in that area. Play a game that favors your strengths. If you are naturally introverted, don't force a habit of being the loudest networker. Build a habit of writing thoughtful, in-depth content. Align your habits with your personality, and they will be far more sustainable. Conclusion. The Symphony of Small Things. James Clear's Atomic Habits is not a book about radical transformation. It is a book about the profound power of the mundane. It argues that the quality of our lives is not determined by a few grand, heroic moments, but by the thousands of small, seemingly insignificant choices we make every day. The journey of building better habits and breaking bad ones is not a sprint of willpower, but a marathon of system design. It is the patient work of engineering an environment where good behaviors are obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. It is the deeper work of aligning those daily behaviors with the identity of the person you most want to become. This 11,000-word exploration has laid out the science and the strategy. We have moved from understanding the neurological habit loop to wielding the 4 laws, from designing our spaces to designing ourselves. We have learned that the key to remarkable results is not to obsess over the result, but to fall in love with the relentless, incremental process of becoming 1% better each day. The message is one of hope and empowerment. You do not need to be a victim of your past or your impulses. You are the architect of your future. By starting small, being consistent, and trusting the compound effect of tiny atomic changes, you can build a life of remarkable achievement and deep personal satisfaction. The system is the solution. Your habits are the vehicle. The destination is the person you prove yourself to be, one small vote at a time. The work begins not tomorrow, not on Monday, but with the next obvious, attractive, easy and satisfying choice that is 1% better than the one before. Start there.